Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. A couple of weeks ago we spoke about how to invest in silver, what options were there for Canadian investors. Last week we spoke about copper and what options were there for Canadian investors. And this week I want to bring to you uranium. Today I want to talk about two popular ways Canadians get exposure to uranium: HURA and U.U. Now, remember, right? This is not about predicting prices or telling anyone what to buy. This is more about understanding miners versus physical uranium exposure. Okay? Now, why uranium? Obviously, uranium has been getting more and more attention lately as nuclear energy comes back into the conversation. As you may know, Germany recently, there was some declarations that they regretted having shut down their nuclear plants, right? Between decarbonization goals, between energy security and long development timelines, the supply and demand dynamics are actually changing, But like I said earlier, instead of guessing prices, I personally prefer understanding what is the structure of this particular investment. Okay? Like I said before, this is not about short-term price predictions of whether uranium is going to go up and down. Now, what is HURA? Well, obviously HURA is an ETF by Global X that owns uranium miners and exploration companies. That means that you're actually buying the businesses themselves. You're buying the businesses, you're buying their revenues, you're buying their costs, their management teams, and obviously their balance sheets. Because of this, well, HURA can outperform uranium prices during strong cycles, but it can also be more volatile, right? And there are chances that there is a small distribution available. With this particular ETF, you're actually investing in the company itself, not on the commodity. U.U, it's very different. Here, you're actually holding the physical uranium. Obviously, you're not storing it in somebody's vault. It's been stored safely for you, and the goal is actually tracking the uranium price itself. There are no dividends. There's no operational upside. There's no company-specific risk. It's a cleaner, more direct exposure. You're actually tracking the price of uranium directly, right? This is actually the closer you're going to get to owning the commodity itself. So what is the key difference between these two options? Well, obviously, HURA, it's an equity play on the uranium industry, while U.U is a commodity play in uranium itself. I'm not saying that one is better than the other. They just behave differently, okay? Now, on closing thoughts, I personally think uranium can be very interesting, but obviously you have to make sure you understand the tool that you're going to be using. There is actually no better option between holding the physical or holding the miners. They're just two different tools, right? HURA is all about growth and operational leverage. U.U is all about uranium exposure. If you're someone that prefers miners, if you're someone that prefers, the explorers profiting from when the price is high and therefore miners will benefit the most, then obviously, HURA is probably your choice. However, if you prefer having the physical exposure to uranium, then obviously, U.U, it will be your preferred choice, right? Some investors have a combination of both, okay? But this is down to everybody's goals and risk tolerance. As always, this is just for educational purposes only, just to give you guys an insight as to what is available for you if you decide that, you want to invest in uranium, whether it is through miners or whether it is through the actually commodity itself. This is not this is education for educational purposes and definitely not financial advice. Well, hopefully you like this short presentation. Please do leave us a comment. Please give us a like and subscribe. We're trying to reach 100 subscribers by the end of the year. We're trying to grow the channel, and that will help us greatly. Thank you so much. Have a good one, and until next time. Bye bye.